After 32 years of marriage, my wife cheated and had a child she tried to convince me to raise him, but I chose divorce. Now she refuses to let me go. Hello Reddit I+ here. After 32 years of marriage, I thought I had seen it all with Diane. We had built a quiet life together. 2 grown children, a modest lakefront home we'd renovated over time, and a rhythm that came with years of coexisting. It wasn't perfect, but I believed in the vows we took. Even when life got loud or quiet or dull, I believed in her. That belief shattered the day I found the note. It wasn't even hidden, just carelessly tossed in the bottom drawer of her nightstand under expired coupons and old greeting cards. At first, I only read the first line, "He doesn't suspect anything," and that was enough to make my stomach turn. But I kept reading. The letter wasn't meant for me. It was to him. "He's been distant for years," she wrote. "So he won't question the baby. Once it's born, I'll convince him it's his. He'll come around. He always does." That baby, Samuel, had just turned 2, a wide-eyed, curly-haired little boy with a dimpled smile. I'd tried, God help me, I'd tried to convince myself he was mine, even though my gut said otherwise. Diane insisted he was a miracle child. That's how she put it, when she broke the news of her late-in-life pregnancy at 56, right after our 30th wedding anniversary. I stood there in our kitchen, holding that letter like it was burning through my palm. My hands trembled, my knees buckled. 32 years of loyalty, of sacrifices, of building her dreams, and I was just a placeholder, a fallback plan. When I confronted her, she didn't deny it. She didn't cry, didn't even seem sorry, just crossed her arms and said, "It was a mistake, but you're his father in every way that matters." Number I wasn't, and I wouldn't be. The divorce filing wasn't hard, but untangling 3 decades of shared life, that nearly killed me. We'd bought our house in both our names, but I'd paid the mortgage. I'd invested in her little antique shop when it was barely scraping by, paid off her car, took out a second mortgage when she wanted to expand her mother's old lake cabin. Every asset was tied up with her name on it, but I wasn't the same man anymore. I lawyered up and made sure the court knew every dollar that had passed through our hands. My attorney, a soft-spoken bulldog named Franklin, uncovered discrepancies in the shop's bookkeeping. Turns out she'd been funneling cash into a joint account with him, the man she'd had the affair with. A man 10 years her junior, a personal trainer she met during her fitness transformation phase. When this came up during mediation, she lost it. Claimed I had driven her to him, that I had grown emotionally unavailable and was more invested in the lawn than our love life. The judge wasn't impressed. The court awarded me the house, and I demanded a full DNA test for Samuel. It confirmed what I already knew. He wasn't mine. The hardest part was telling our adult kids, Rachel and Aaron. I expected them to be angry, to be shocked, but the moment I told them the truth, Rachel broke down sobbing. Not because of what Diane did, but because she already knew. She had seen texts on her mother's phone months ago. She begged her to come clean. Instead, Diane doubled down and tried to manipulate me. The divorce was finalized 8 months later. I sold the lake house and moved to a quiet neighborhood just outside town. Started volunteering at the local community center. Learned to cook for one. I found peace in silence and, over time, I started rebuilding myself. Not as a husband or a provider, but just as me. But Diane, she didn't take the divorce well. She began showing up at my new place uninvited, bringing Samuel, pushing him toward me with wide eyes and hopeful words. "He misses you. He asks about you every night." She'd show up with casserole dishes and photo albums like we were in some Hallmark movie where betrayal could be erased with nostalgia. Then the calls started. Late-night voicemails where she sounded like a ghost of the woman I once knew. "You were the only real thing in my life," she whispered once. "I made a mistake, but we can fix this." I changed my number. She tried going through the kids, but they'd seen enough too. Rachel moved cities, and Aaron told her plainly, "You burned the bridge, Mom. You don't get to act surprised that no one's following you into the fire." One afternoon, about a year after the divorce, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address, just my name written in Diane's familiar looping script. Inside was a letter, a confession of sorts. She admitted that Samuel's biological father had walked out the moment she told him she was keeping the baby, that he'd ghosted her after using her for money, and she'd hoped I'd step in because she couldn't bear the shame. She called me the best man she'd ever known, said she knew I could never forgive her, but that a part of her still hoped I would. She ended the letter with, "I still wear my ring." I didn't reply. Instead, I walked to the drawer where I kept the old photo albums, ones where we smiled in younger years, full of promise and lies we hadn't uncovered yet. I packed them into a box, drove to her house, and left them on her porch with a sticky note that said, "Set yourself free." I already have. As I drove away, I saw her silhouette through the curtain, standing still, alone, still clutching the ring that meant nothing anymore. Forgiveness is a complicated thing. People say time heals, but sometimes time just reveals. In my case, it revealed that the woman I loved had stopped loving me years ago, that the life I thought we had was held together by habit, not heart. But I survived. And in surviving, I learned that loyalty isn't weakness. That walking away doesn't mean you've given up. It means you've finally chosen yourself. She may refuse to let me go, but I already let her go long ago, and that has made all the difference.